This is the testing PM UX sync for October 21st, 2021. Some follow-ups from last week. Pings for performance testing jobs to be done. The interview recruiting, how did it go? What's next? Have you put any pings out there? How can I help?
Yeah, so I haven't been able to get a start on the recruiting for that yet, but I have tried to, because I remembered from last time, I actually got the discussion guide ready before I started recruiting. So I have started a draft of the discussion guide, but haven't got into like any of the questions that we actually want to ask yet.
Okay.
So I wanted to see if I was going to ping you and Hyana today, and probably will, to take a look at it to make sure that this top part at least looks good, and then I'll move on to the questions. And as long as we have the participant profile by here, then I can start recruiting too.
Perfect. Yeah, I think your participant profile is probably going to be quality engineering and or our SET friend teammates and front-end developers are probably going to be where I would start. Because they generate review apps and because we can use review apps for that testing to see how components are changing. That'd be where I would start. And yeah, I'll be happy to take a look at this a little bit later.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably just ping you on the research issue and add the link there.
That sounds good. Cool. And then I wanted to make sure on our usability testing research that before we get too far away from that we have solid recommendation issues, let me back up, a good summary of what we learned, issues on recommendations of what we need to do next, as far as either validating the jobs to be done through research issues, or here are the bits of functionality that we need to implement so that a user can do their job with this category, or the combination of categories between review apps and usability testing. And that's lined up, ready to go, so that the testing team can not adhere to, but they can continue to make progress towards advancing the maturity of the category next year in 2022. I just want to make sure that that's all buttoned up, ready to go, and we don't leave this kind of lingering of, well, we did some research, but nothing really came with it. But we didn't do anything with it. Yeah, like we've invested this time. Let's make sure that we have return on that investment, one way or the other. And that could be, we didn't learn enough. We need to go out and do broader research of what does this category mean, and that'd be fine. But let me know how I can help with creation of those issues or walking through and creating a summary. It'd be great to post a summary, even if it's private, of here's what we learned to the Unfiltered channel. Just kind of recapping, here's what we did. You did that with a UX scorecard, and I thought it was really great. So doing something similar, just a recap of what we learned about the category and the jobs that users are doing when they're doing that acceptance testing would be, I think, a fantastic outcome of this research issue.
Okay, give me just 1 second, because I'm pretty sure I did this. I think I recorded a video already.
Oh, perfect.
So navigate to, and my guess is I probably didn't send it to as many Slack channels as I should have.
Or maybe, you know what, I probably just missed it I missed that signal through the noise. Sure.
No, okay, I did record I recorded a walkthrough. I just added the research issue. If you go to that, it has all of that information in the top. So I did a summary of insights in that issue too, so that we're not having to go to dovetail.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I did a video, but what I did
Awesome.
not do yet is create recommendation issues of how to move forward with what we've learned, because all I did was update the jobs to be done. So I can do that. And I know you also created the dog fooding issue.
That was already out there. Yeah. What we can do from that is we can create an epic around usability testing to viable and put the issues into it, that these are the things we need to get done before we can move the maturity. And we could even attach UX issues, research issues as part of that. Of now we need to go back and do the scorecard if we wanted to. That could be part of that epic.
Okay. Okay. That would be great. And I'll put the dog fooding issue in there too. Okay, that sounds like a good move forward. I also haven't heard back from Hyana about doing the scorecard
Okay.
around this, but I'll make sure to follow up with her. I think it would be fine.
Cool. Excellent,
Okay.
excellent work.
Sorry, I'm like taking notes while we're talking.
Oh, I'm glad one of us is, because I'm completely falling down on that right now. Thank you.
Okay. I'm actually not going to open up my priorities and tasks because the stuff that I have in this doc is actually talking about them pretty much. So I'll just share the doc.
Okay.
So I've been taking a stab at marking the issues in backlog with trying to see if they qualify as UX debt. It's taking a while because you have to like follow the path of where it came from and what the requirements were and what the design spec was. So I'm just asking for a little bit of your patience there with me. I just started.
Not a problem.
But that's my top priority, I would say.
Okay.
What is this? You had pinged me on, yes, the metrics report. I had answered your question there, but I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. I gathered this screenshot from the new merge request widgets, which it doesn't look like this is how it shows up today, like with these categories, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's definitely not how it shows up today. I think that that's the proposed new design, or when the working group stuff gets implemented, that will be the design.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's as far as I know.
I would say that will cover our case.
That's but it will cover our case, but it still doesn't enable this like hide changes depending on a set threshold that they were talking about. Which I was thinking that maybe we could just add an option to like add that configuration when you're setting the widget up instead of showing it in the UI, because we have such small area to play with. They could just set that as a threshold, and then whatever, like things will show up depending.
We implemented a change like this with browser performance testing. So I will, I'm going to assign this to myself and stick it into refinement. And I'm going to rewrite the issue a little bit to say now we have a better usability around this of showing the changes in a logical order instead of just here's everything and you have to go hunting for it, and then introduce the threshold like we did for performance, for browser performance, of here's kind of the floor below which I don't care if I see a change or not. We'll probably do that based on, we don't do this on percentage. That might be tricky because this is a string change. String compare. Okay, I'll ponder on that a little bit more. Or did we make a change to include percentages in this widget? I feel like we did.
We definitely did for one of them. Was it this one though? I don't know. I don't
think it was, because these are just strings that get added to the text file. I don't know. I'll take a peek. I'll dig around and see what I can find and see what makes sense for this.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I will take that, do a little bit of refinement.
Yeah, so I've been working on the project quality summary iteration things. Thank you for hopping in and answering questions.
Yeah, I feel like what I'm trying to say, I'm not doing a good job of verbalizing.
I'm still like, a little confused.
So what I want to do for the comparison is say, here's what the value is right now, the latest. Here's the last time we measured. And that could be yesterday. That could be 90 days ago. It doesn't matter. We're just going to say, here's how it's changed since the last data point. Instead of trying to say in the last 30, in the last 60, in the last 90, let's just give them a single comparison, but we don't have to time bound that comparison. And that's where like I haven't been doing a good job of explaining this, I think, in my comments.
Okay, yeah, that was my main question, like what's the time interval? So that's perfect.
Okay. I will Yeah, let's, yeah, that's, I was trying to say at the designer's discretion. I can add a comment into the issue itself of let's compare the latest data point to the last data point and just show that comparison in our design, if that'd be helpful.
I can also just update the description so that first bullet point.
Yeah, if you want to do that, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
All right.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
And then my other question was just asking how your transition is going and if there's anything that I can help you with, because I know you're splitting time right now.
No, I think everything is going okay for now. Keeping up on issues and pinging me if anything is falling through the cracks, you're not getting an answer as fast as you would have expected, even async, would be great. Just that's my biggest concern, is that I'm letting stuff fall through the cracks.
Okay. Well, I haven't felt that at all, so.
Good. Good. All right. On my side, let's see how to share my screen. Let's see if I can do the right one. I recorded a walkthrough yesterday of how to use Chorus and Slack as a sensing mechanism. My first attempt at that was the wrong Chrome window, where it was just me blabbering over the top of an empty Gmail inbox.
Oh no.
Because I picked the wrong one when I picked share screen.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you get the right screen share. So this week, I finished up the sales enablement session on Tuesday. That was a good one. Yeah, testing team transition and then PE team transition as well is what I'm working on. Right now, my next focus, though, is I have one more customer journey interview this after late morning today. And then I'm going to be working on tagging all of those videos, insights, and then probably canceling the interviews that I have scheduled for next week if I feel like we have the insights that we want out of this around the pain points in setting up artifacts, or setting up artifacts reports, JUnit or Cobertura, which is specifically what we're digging into. So that's my next priority. And towards that, I want to make sure that Scott and I hand off any research that we're wrapping up this quarter to you and the new product manager coming in. He's found some really great insights around when there's a pain point in pipeline execution time, which has been really interesting. We went into this thinking it was all around testing and flaky tests, and you have flaky tests and then you just have to rerun the thing. And we've talked to some folks who have that problem, but seeing the demographics of them and the circumstances of that has been really interesting. And there being pain points not associated with testing, but associated with having to rerun a pipeline and understanding where it gets painful for a user versus expected time. Because everybody we've talked to has a much shorter pipeline runtime than we do. They're talking about, oh, my pipeline's running 4 minutes. We're just like, what? Our pipeline's running 45 minutes. That's amazing. You must be so happy. And they're like, it could be better. I'm like, oh my goodness, you don't have a monolith. That's what's going on here. So that's been really interesting. It'll be good to hand that off. And we're focused on like not saying that we have the wrong persona or from our screener, but in understanding the opportunity space. So we might need to go back and do even another round of problem validation, or split it up and then deep dive into more of who we think is going to have that problem to understand how big the space is before we start getting into solutions. But it's been really interesting. We'll try to get that wrapped up this quarter, or it'll bleed into next quarter and we'll get it wrapped up and handed off.
What by handoff, what do you mean? Like, what are you going to do with that?
Make sure that we have solid next steps and issues, that there's a summary published somewhere, either on Unfiltered or at least in the issue, kind of like what you just did with the jobs to be done stuff, of make sure we didn't do research and then just there's nothing from it, that we have solid next steps that someone else could pick up and run with, to move that forward through the validation cycle.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
All right. And then I wanted to make sure that so those are the things that I will put into the prioritization of UX research projects for verify and package. I think they're both already in there. And is there anything else that we need to add in here from what you're planning on working on next quarter?
So are you talking about this issue?
This
specific-
issue itself, yeah.
Yeah, because this was just problem validation. Oh wait, upcoming problem validation and strategic research projects. I can't think of anything that would be problem validation that's coming up. Unless job to be done research fits into there, which I don't.
I would check with Hyana and
Okay.
ask them.
Okay. But other than that, I think everything would be really more considered like solution validation that I can think of.
Okay, cool. All right. Awesome. I'm gonna keep this meeting on the calendar for next week. Just thinking about timing of this. Next week for sure. The week after that, man, Sam just meet with me. Sorry, Sam and I just booked our recurring one-on-one, but he's out like the next 3 weeks, so we're not gonna have it. What is that? Oh, I booked over the top of. Oh, there's a time change coming up, isn't there? Yeah, there is. Google Calendar does that weird thing where whoever sets the meeting, it stays in their time zone, which isn't really that weird of a thing. But because Scott is in Arizona and they don't change daylight savings time, it gets even weirder than it would be for the normal split, because Europe and the US change times at different times of the year now. Now you throw in Arizona doesn't change times and it just gets all sorts of messy. Back to, I'm going to keep this on the calendar for next week.
Okay.
And the week after that. I think I will add our new product manager to that one-on-one. I believe that they're East Coast based, so it'll be a friendly time for them as far as time zones go. And then I'm going to cancel this call and let you and them set up a call to be recurring at whatever pace you need it to be. But I think, I don't know, because I'm going to be helping cover for at least 14.5 and into 14.6, I think. So let's talk about it on that first call and go from there. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds great.
All right, awesome. So for now, I'm going to do nothing, but I'm going to add to the agenda for 2 weeks from now. Let's talk about how many more of these that James needs to be a part of and when we can just cancel this recurring set.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Gina. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the testing call in 10 minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.